Okay, so Brad should be standing by. Remember back in the day, Brad, you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you, brother.
Oh
I got
man.
you.
Remember back in
All
the
right,
day?
we're good.
Remember back in the day, like when you first came to the league, you actually had to go to the radio station to talk to the guy. Now you can just pipe. Now you can be in your garage, doing free throws, and then just come in there, put a little backdrop, put a nice shirt on, and you're, worldwide all of a sudden.
It's crazy, man. Times have changed.
Now,
so we
Brad,
didn't have cell phones.
Did you ever listen to the show when you were with the Bucks, or like know about the show, the Bubba Love Sponge show?
Honestly, I didn't really listen to a lot of talk radio, to be honest with you. I'd heard about you, but I didn't really know all the media outlets in Tampa stuff.
Thank
at
God
that time.
you
I'm
didn't,
sorry.
because we loved you, by the way. But
Oh, did you? Good.
yeah,
Good. I appreciate that.
but we used to make fun. We used to have songs about Trent, and oh my God, we drove Trent insane. And he then, we sent one of my minions to the locker room to ask him some, hey Trent, are you colorblind, or you miss because you obviously have the jerseys mixed up, just smart ass stuff. And Trent took him and put him right down to the ground. And then
he got personal.
Yeah, and then some PR guys like Bubba Love Sponge show can never come. We can't media credential him because he's up to no good and he's a bad guy. But we were gonna have you, if we needed to get like a testimony. I was gonna have you call Dion, because Dion is a really, really good friend of mine.
Yep.
And I know that you actually played with Dion twice, once at Florida State, and then with I guess you could call him the football club now, right? Is that what we got to call him?
Yeah, we were together at the Redskins at that time, let's say. But no, I love playing with Dion. He was wow, probably the best. Him and Randy Moss, probably the two best athletes or ever been with. And prime time, I saw him grow from Deion Sanders prime time there at Florida State. On game days, he'd come out there and we'd take the bus down from Thomasville down to Tallahassee, and then we'd get out, we'd take our luggage up to our room, and then walk about 100 yards to the stadium. But somehow he'd always have a limousine. He'd show up there, and he made prime time happen. But I mean, he was the first. I remember two-sport guy, really. I mean, three-sport, really, with baseball, track, and football, obviously at Florida State, and hard worker. But he did bring out the gold chains, and that was the Mr. T time when all that was happening. So I loved it.
I don't know, and you might be able to attest, but a lot of people don't realize how much Dion I mean, he was very athletically gifted, obviously, but he really was a student of the game. I was told that he spent as much film time as the next guy, really knowing like how his first step's going to be, and his opponent. That's one of the things, like, because he was so well read or so well filmed, so to speak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously he won the I think Thorpe Award or whatever back in college, and then he was Hall of Fame and won 2 Super Bowls, and now he's coaching college football. But he was on the I'll be honest with you, on the practice field, he didn't really run his mouth. That was more of a media kind of thing.
Right.
He really did not talk a lot of trash, but he was there for the moment. When you think about the punt Ruski and the prime time and the high step and all those kind of things, but he was very, very smart, a great route reader. Understood the splits of the receivers, understood the timing of the quarterback. He actually played receiver a little bit at Dallas Cowboys with Troy Aikman, and just a student of the game.
Now, how many times did Dion pick you off in the pros? I don't know. How many times did Dion get you in the pros?
I gotta be honest with you. He would shut down one half of the field, but let me tell you, he was good to me. Okay, he was good to me. He intercepted me. I was in Minnesota. We played Dallas in the playoffs. I threw a slant route. Qadri Ishmael should have crossed face. He picked it off. So think about me in prime time running down the sidelines,
right?
And me trying to chase him with my bow leg.
Did he tell you something? Come on, BJ, you ain't got nothing here, kid.
Usually he'd put that hand behind his head and he'd high step it, but that was one. He kind of looked at me and winked and went on for the touchdown.
He didn't rub it in your face.
And as a quarterback, man, pick sixes, interception's one thing, but a pick six is the worst as a quarterback, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll kill you. It kills the game. You got to win the turnover ratio, turnover battle, but then, sometimes those turnovers, you can stop them to a punt or maybe a field goal. When they take you back to the house, it's demoralizing. It's points on the board. It takes a momentum away from the game. But that time, Dion, he just winked at me. He did not show me up
Brad,
on national TV.
Brad Johnson on the air today. Brad, former Buck, former Viking. Cowboy. Went to London. I think you went to London for a year. Did you not, Brad?
Yep, I did.
How
Played
was
in the World League.
how was that?
At that time in my career, I needed it. I didn't play very much in college. My first 3 or 4 years of the pros, I was behind Rich Gannon, Jim McMahon, Warren Moon. I needed a chance to go make plays, chance to make mistakes, be the leader of the team, and just go play. And so the league was not for everybody. I'll be honest with you. But the guys that survived it kind of made you tough. It thickened your skin. You didn't stay in nice hotels. I mean, the living was tough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I made it through it. Kurt Warner did, John Kennan did, Jay Fiedler did, and some others did. But it was the best thing I ever did. I had to be bold and make a decision at that time in my career to go play in the World League in February, March, and April, and then come back to the Vikings at that time in my career. So I loved it.
I think
got to see a lot of parts of the world.
Yeah, I think London. I think you hit it right on the head. I think London gave you the reps and the leadership. Training.
Yeah.
So that when you came back and, for the Vikes, and then I think eventually played the first 12 games in 97, I think.
Yep.
Came back in 97. I don't know that you would have, been the quarterback, the 97 quarterback you were had you not gone to London,
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I'll say the biggest advantage for me was I already knew the system in Minnesota. So it wasn't like I had to go learn a new system when I came back from the World League. I just had to learn that system. So that's a very tough situation as far as having to learn systems and bouncing. But at that time, I went back to a system that I knew. But it does toughen up your skin as far as what it takes to be a leader of a team, not just a guy that can throw spirals and people get caught up in the crowd. Like, how far can you throw it? Like, actually lead a team. And under those circumstances, we only had 38 players on the team. 8 of them were foreigners. One foreigner always had to be on the field at all times. So, you had your leadership skills had to come out, and you just had to play.
Now, Brad, you do a ton on social media, and by the way, we obviously knew who you are. I don't know why you're not in the Hall of Fame. Warren Moon and Troy Aikman, you're ahead of them on a lot of statistics. I forget which one I saw.
The completion rating.
And I don't know. Are you a Hall of Fame candidate at all, Brad? Why aren't you?
No,
how could you be?
Yeah. No, I'm great. Listen, I'm grateful for my career.
But listen, you got a championship, and you got comparable stats to two guys that were first-time first-time ballot guys. I don't know how you.
He led a legacy NFL franchise to a historic victory. Just as a leader, like he's talking about what happened by being in London, he led that team. It was a team of very big personalities, and there had to be someone at the forefront leading that team. And Brad.
And what other guys, great quarterbacks, can say they played with Orlando Bobo? Who else can say that? Did I pull that one out of my ass, Brad?
you went deep in the well on that one. Deep in the well.
One of my little tricks, Brad. One of my little tricks. Anytime I interview an athlete, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell them myself. I hope no guys don't steal this off me. But one of my things is, I write down, I'll go look at all the rosters that you played on, and then find a guy that played 1 year, and a real obscure name like Orlando Bobo, and then ask you about it. And every time, I was pulling out some names with Dion, he's like, "Oh man, that guy was on the practice squad for the Falcons. I don't even know. He had a crazy sister or something. Tell us who Orlando Bobo was."
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to change the script on you a little bit. One guy that I did play in the World League, his name was LeVar Ball. You remember that name? Big Baller Brand?
Yeah.
LeVar Ball was a teammate of mine.
Really?
He always said he was going to make it big time, and there were so many great players on that team that had sons that became pro athletes and all those kinds of things. But LeVar Ball said he was always going to make it big in the World League in 1995. He was a practice squad player for the Jets. And then we kind of kept up with his career. Now we see him on the sidelines with all his kids playing in the NBA.
Oh, his kids made so much money, man. He didn't have to even worry about anything. You know what I'm saying? That NBA money is way different. The NFL gets screwed more than any league, man, as far as what it does to your body. The fact that these baseball guys go out, their money is guaranteed the minute they sign it. The hockey guys, they can get ran over by a bus the next day, guaranteed. The NFL's the hardest on your body, but also the way that the players get paid. None of them, very rarely is it guaranteed? And I guess all these new deals are putting more guaranteed money in it in order to be able to sign the high dollar guys. Is that how? That's the guarantee part of the game now.
No doubt about it. You think about those guys that played in the 70s and 80s, and obviously, like, just health insurance is a big deal. And now you got to be thankful for those guys in 1987 that went on the strike,
right,
to create free agency for these players. And so each guys they're making a lot of money now, and it's kind of gotten better and better for players, and benefits have gotten better. But no, it takes a toll on your body. But you sign up for it. Not all that money is guaranteed. Now guys are getting a little bit more guaranteed monies in the contracts, and people are seeing that. But a lot of the guys in the past, honestly, I see a lot of them. I feel for them.
But a lot of guys like in the 70s and stuff, a lot of football players in the league, like in the 70s and early 80s, they'd have to go out and sell insurance and like have another job. Until like maybe probably the mid 80s or so, when you started getting some decent money. But man, some of those guys, but they didn't make nothing. I mean, poor Bart Starr won the Super Bowl I think he made like, I don't know what, $35,000 a year or something back then.
Right. Yeah, times have changed. Inflation's changed, obviously, but no, a lot of those guys, they did have second, third jobs and those kind of things. They
Bart Starr
played almost for the love of the game.
Those old timers were probably pretty mad at your Bucks deal. Your Bucks deal was a good deal at the time, right?
Yeah, no, it was a great deal. No, I don't ever complain about any money that I ever made. Never thump a free melon. But I was grateful for my career, grateful for the money that I made and those things. But try to hold on to it. But definitely, inflation's changed, and guys get paid a lot more than those guys in the early 70s and 80s.
Here you are, 9th round out of Florida State. You're not you're not the sexiest quarterback of the draft. You had to bust. You had to you had to bust your ass to make it in the league. You did, and you went on to the highest level. I think 3 or 4 time Pro Bowler. Won the Super Bowl with the Bucks. A really accomplished career, and the money you made is nothing compared to what they're making now. And just think about the guys that used to make like $35,000. They probably looked at Brad Johnson and be like, God, that's a lot of money. 5 years, $25 million. I think your Bucks deal is what, 5 years, $30 million, I think.
Yeah, it sure was. I remember my signing bonus. I was the 227th pick, and my signing bonus was $17,500. And after FICA got me, and everybody else got me, I think I made $10,000 after I cleared. My first year, I made $72,000. And so, but listen, I thought I didn't play. I was grateful for that money that time. I thought I was the king of the world.
Good old boy from Marietta, Georgia, man. You give him that $100-some thousand. He'll live for 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Then I think you played with Jim McMahon in the Vikings. Did you not?
Yeah, I did. I remember back in 1985 when he was wearing a sweatband around his neck and it said Adidas, and he's wearing those those sunglasses. He was doing the commercials. If I don't wear Reebok, I don't wear nothing at all. And then next thing I know, in 1993, we were teammates. We were roommates in training camp. And obviously, he won a Super Bowl in Chicago. But honestly, he was a big impact on my career. Just how to lead, how to win. If you go back and look at his winning percentage, it's pretty incredible. Over 70%. And he could lead and win games. He can win games ugly. And I think that's a greatness of a lot of quarterbacks. I wouldn't say he's the most talented or gifted quarterback, but he had a way of just bonding guys.
He was gritty. He was gritty.
Yeah,
he was gritty.
No doubt about it.
I remember seeing a thing on Jim McMahon, and he was like, okay, so they drafted this BYU quarterback, and when he arrived to the Bears facility, it was in a limo with a Budweiser, and they were all giving him a hard time, and he was like, hey, I spent 4 years at BYU. I like to have a little bit of fun now. It was actually pretty funny, actually. Brad Johnson.
He did.
Brad Johnson on the Zoom today. Brad, tell us about all your social media, because you're doing pretty well with it, aren't you? You got some pretty good numbers and these trick shots. Whoever knew? You should have been part of the circus or something. Screw. My Lord, when did you start doing these trick shots?
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones back when I started playing in the 80s and 90s. And then social media didn't really come into play. So, these were shots and things that I was doing as a little kid. And the pandemic hit, I picked up TikTok. And so, obviously, I could throw football, play basketball, 2 years of college at Florida State. But so I started making all these trick shots, put them on Instagram, Twitter, and some of the shots I hit, like the corner pocket of the end zone, hit the second pole of the goalpost, hit 5 in a row. And I did make all these videos. I'll spin a football off my finger and make a bucket, and then throw one with my left hand, then make it with my right hand. And then everything I do, it's not just a one trick shot pony kind of thing. It's usually things in sequence, 3, 4, maybe 5 shots in a row, and it's really just a challenge just to see if I can do it. And I tell a lot of times it's a lifetime of practice to do it.
Yeah, but
it takes what it takes.
But
it's some work now.
You're
working your ass off to get it done.
How long will you have to tape sometimes to do, to get one?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been some where I say first try, first take. There's been some that takes 15 hours. I mean, like it's you're working your ass off. You know what I mean? So it's fun for me, but and when I say that, it's more of a challenge. Like you set a goal, can you actually do it? And there's failures. There's like I'm walking off the court, didn't get it accomplished. But then eventually, when you see me celebrate and get it done, like there was some work that took behind it to make it happen. So hopefully everyone enjoys all those trick shots. I have fun. I extremely have fun when I make them, and just like to share it.
Who's got a better arm, you or Max? Come on, you're on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. We're going to ask you some cool ass questions,
I'll take that
buddy.
challenge. That's tough. You know what? I still can.
By the way, Max is his son who goes to Texas. I think Texas Tech, isn't it?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Transferred from LSU, and he's a stud. I mean, he had a great year last year.
Yeah, Max, he's got 35 touchdowns, 7 picks to his name in the SEC, so it's pretty good. And he's got a strong arm. He's faster, so it's going to be really kind of fun to watch his career. He loves playing, and but we still get after it out there.
You and Max one-on-one. You and Max one-on-one playing a little just, like basketball. Because I know first of all, a lot of people don't even know. But I think I remember it right, you didn't even play your first year at Florida State. You were a basketball player for the FSU team, and you started as a freshman and didn't go play for Bobby until your next year.
Yeah, I scored 2,400 points in high school, and I couldn't decide what sport I wanted to play. I actually wanted to go play for a guy named Bobby Crimmins at Georgia Tech.
Right.
And then he told me he had a guy named Dennis Scott.
Yeah.
And he said that guy's going to start. So Dennis Scott changed my passion to play basketball and kind of sent me on to play at Florida State. But I love playing basketball. But we do get out in the backyard. We kind of get after it.
So who's a better ball? Who's a better small forward, you or him?
I'm a winning horse, but I can't beat him in one-on-one. I'm 53 now, so
he's got too much,
those days are over.
He's got too much cardio on you, right? He's got to just press the old timer a little bit, and then the cardio starts kicking in. You know what? I'm going to give you an obscure name of a guy that I went to Indiana State with, Vincey Glenn.
How about that?
Yes.
Holy smokes!
How about that?
I love Vincey. Vincey was a safety for us at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Took me under his wing, and we still stay in touch today. So I love Vincey. He's a great player.
What's Vincey doing nowadays?
He's probably on some golf course smoking a cigar. So I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what he's doing day to day, but I know he's on some golf course.
Brad Johnson on the phone. Brad, mostly is it Brad_Johnson? What is pretty much all of your stuff?
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter, it's Brad_Johnson_14, and on TikTok, it's Big Bad Brad 14.
And I got to tell you, man, I want to I hope we can stay on the phone a little bit longer with you. I love talking to you. But I just want to get everybody all your information out because he's a great follow.
Yeah.
If you're a guy like just us and you just he's Brad Johnson, so he's cool. It's automatically brings some credence to the deal. He's not some guy, some dude you never heard of. Nah. This guy's a Super Bowl champion. Yeah. And then he's out making these shots to be like, how is that old timer making these kind of shots? How do you know he had that kind of arm?
Well, he's also got other athletes now doing trick shots that are sending it to him, like Bubba and the golfer did a ball off a basketball and pretty much called Brad
So the whole Brad Johnson deal is going to be like the bar stool of TikTok.
Yeah, right. He threw it past himself in an NFL game.
Yeah, I saw that.
And scored a touchdown.
I saw that. It was against the It was the Vikings, and he threw it, got ticked, and then he tried to worm his way, and then you made it right into the end zone. You kind of stutter step one time. I can't play the footage because I'll get a copyright strike, but. I think there was one other guy that's done it since. Brad did it since, and then Mariota did it, right?
Yeah, Marcus Mariota, he did it in Tennessee against Kansas City in the playoffs, and then I did mine in 1997, won an ESPY and for Play of the Year, and so I'm 3-yard line, and it counted for 12 points in fantasy football, so it's just a cool play. I'd say you're the first one to ever done it.
So Brad Johnson on the phone. So Brad, you go from Minnesota. I think Dennis Green they got a ransom for you, did they not? They got a
They
first.
did. They did.
A first, a second, and a third for
Right.
you. Well, Washington. You go to Washington. I think that's what in 99.
99. Yep.
In 99, and I think you had Pro Bowl. You went Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I had a Pro Bowl year that year. We won the NFC East. Actually, Charlie Castro, the general manager, he was the one that traded for me, but he actually got all those picks back with Champ Bailey and the Ricky Williams trade. So it's kind of he had double whammy on that one.
Man, the Ricky Williams trade. What was Mike Ditka thinking on that one? Was he on mushrooms or something? My Lord. I mean, didn't he give away his entire draft, all 10 rounds or something like that?
The whole franchise.
And Ricky was so high. Ricky didn't even want to. Ricky didn't want to play. He just needed some quick money because he was on a mountain and doing yoga or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Brad, you have a couple years, and a lot of people argue what was your better year, your Super Bowl year or your '99 year? Some people say that your '99 year was just as good as your Super Bowl year.
Yeah, well, the game's changed with the rules and all those kind of things. But that was to throw for 4,000 yards at that time. It was a big deal. But with the kind of team that we had, the Redskins had not been at that time. The Redskins, they had not been in the playoffs in 8 years, I think. And so to lead a team to win the NFC East was a big deal at that time. But I enjoyed it. But listen, I was on part of some great teams. And the year at the Super Bowl, we had 3 Hall of Famers and Lynch and Sapp and Derrick Brooks, and hopefully get a couple more with Rondé Barber and Simeon Rice. But just a great, great team. But it's hard to win. It's hard to get. I tell people it's hard to get a first down. It's hard to score a touchdown. It's hard to win a game. But to come together like we did, and the way Gruden got us together to win a Super Bowl it was special, man. I think about it. Someone asks a question about it every day, and I love to talk about it.
What was the transition like from Tony to Chucky? Because isn't that a complete 180 from personalities and how they coach?
Yeah. You gotta be so thankful for what Dungy did, bringing the Yucks to the Bucks and changing the way he did in the draft and bringing all those great players in, and then just the winning culture and getting the guys out in the community. That was a big, big deal, and that'll last forever in Tampa. So you got to be thankful for that. And obviously he's on the Ring of Honor and all that. But when Gruden came in, he made a bunch of moves, and kind of like what you saw when Brady won it, they brought in I think 10 free agents, and Gruden brought in like 14 or 15 free agents, from Ken Dilger to Ricky Dudley to Joe Jaravicious and Keenan McCardell and Michael Pittman and Robin Oben and Kerry Jenkins. I mean, so he challenged our defense, made our offense better. And so it took all those kind of things to happen. But there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, from coaching, different perceptions, but both of them are great winners.
But the one thing being a
quarterback,
quarterback,
so I'm thankful to play for both of them.
Chucky was a longtime quarterback coach. So, a lot of head coaches, Denny Green, I think, was more of a defensive expert kind of guy. So in Norv Turner but Gruden, Chucky, John came from the quarterbacks side of coaching, so that even has to suck as a quarterback, because some of the coaches you might have been able to bamboozle a little bit, on technique and stuff. Right. But old Chucky knew exactly how you were supposed to do it, and I'm sure he told you about it a lot of times.
Yeah, no, I actually love playing with Gruden a lot of times. But one of the biggest reasons why is because you're with him all day long.
Right.
From starting at 7:30 meetings, and then you're with him, and then he does a lot of times coordinators, they'll do the installation, and then they go in the room, they start working on the game sheet, and then you're stuck with your QB coach, and then all your ideas and thoughts don't really get transferred back to the coordinator. Well, with Gruden, actually, you're with him all day long, so you agreed, disagreed, but at the end of the day, you work together,
right?
And then you were in sequence of what the game plan was going to be. And I remember when Gruden first came there, the first phone call I made was to Rich Gannon, who we played together in Minnesota, actually played against each other in the Super Bowl, and he left Oakland, and I called Rich and said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Brad, you're going to love playing for him because he's going to program you. You'll be most prepared in your whole career playing for Gruden because you're going to be with him all day long." And so I loved it, and still got a great relationship with him today.
And I don't want to make it too political, and I don't want to get into it too much. I just want to put I think that he got completely railroaded. I think the guy is a Hall of Fame quality coach. I think that, again, he got completely railroaded. I just think that it's ridiculous what they did to him. That's just my opinion. You don't have to opinion on it. You don't have to give me your opinion, but I think that, the guy's just an absolute brilliant student of the game and deserves every accolade he could get, and I just don't like what they did to him. I really don't.
Yeah, and I'll say he's been a great ambassador to the game, from all the things that he did in the QB, the quarterback show before the draft.
Right.
Remember all that, and then Monday Night Football, and then a lot of the coaches that he had underneath it, from Kyle Shanahan to Mike Tomlin to Rod Marinelli, Rich Bisaccia, and I mean the list goes on of great guys. Sean McVay. Yeah. So, I think he's a great ambassador, great teacher of the game.
He's kind of the modern era Bill Walsh when it comes to everybody that came out of Walsh's system. And Chucky was kind of, a lot of good guys now in the league came from Coach Gruden, much like the old San Francisco Walsh system back in the day.
No doubt about it, and obviously Bill Walsh was one of the first ones to really get credit for it. But you got to give Gruden credit for all that kind of stuff, and a lot of that gets lost in the way. But when coaches coach for a long time, the same thing goes with Tony Dungy too. So, but a lot of those guys, they do make impact on other coaches, on other players, and so I'm thankful for that time I had with him.
Now, that general manager you talked about in Washington that was so great to get you. Did he get as equally in trouble when he let you go and put I'm a gambling man, Jeff George, in there?
Oh,
hey, I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and let Brad Johnson be an unrestricted free agent, and let's go ahead and put all of our eggs in Jeff George's bucket. I mean, come on, Brad. I mean, that's not the smartest move in the world.
Yeah. No, I was grateful for my time there. It was a childhood dream to play for that team, the Washington football team, because I grew up in North Carolina, so they were my favorite team growing up. But then I made a smart move coming to the Tampa, no doubt about that.
No, they were. I read where Belichick was hot after you for the Ravens during that free agency.
Brian Billick.
I'm sorry, Billick. Belichick was hot on you because he came from Denny Green as well. So was there? Did you actually your relationship that you had with Tony versus Bill? Did that have anything bearing on, or do you think Tampa was better built to win?
Yeah, Brian Billick, we'd been together for 7 years in Minnesota. He was the head coach for Baltimore. They actually won a Super Bowl the year before. And then free agency, I did think I was going to Baltimore. But I'll be honest with you, two things happened. Okay, you talked about it earlier. I felt like I had a more secure contract than the contract that I got in Tampa. And then the other thing was, honestly, the opportunity to be the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl for that franchise in Tampa.
Right.
It hadn't been done before. So that was – egotistically, that's what I wanted to do. And it was the right team, the right coach with Tony Dungy. We've been together for 3 years, and it was just the right team. I'd played with Minnesota and Washington against Tampa, against Sapp and Lynch and all those guys, but I felt like my style of play was the right fit for Tampa at that time. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity. And just all the relationships that I made down there, it's pretty awesome.
Being on the same side as Sapp and Brooks is far easier as a quarterback than being against them, right?
No doubt about it. No,
Sapp was a beast, was he not? A beast.
I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it.
As a defensive lineman, let's say you're on the Skins or on your Minnesota and you got to play Sapp. And you're like, oh God, this guy, right?
Well, intensity is going to step up. You know that, and I think you think about all those wars and battles he had with Green Bay and Brett Favre. That kind of got a lot of attention, those kind of things. But I had so much respect for that, with Monty Kiffin and Tampa Bay defense and Tony Dungy playing against them, and I just felt like my style would fit them. I was tired of playing against them and wanted to team up with them, and then it was a grand slam for all of us.
In full disclosure, I'm a huge Packer fan. I've obviously been in Tampa since '92, so Tampa's been my second favorite team. But I'm a huge I'm a Packer fan, and so wanted to get your opinion or interactions with Reggie and Brett Favre, two of the Packers that were probably some of the greatest players ever during your era.
Yeah, Reggie White was. Obviously he was elite. The day he passed away, like that day kind of wrecked me a little bit. Like it was wow, it's real. But he was. When he was a defensive end, you did not want to make him mad. You want to be on his good side because he was a force. He impacted the game, whether you're keeping a tight end in, a back, the chip, and two was not good enough to handle him by himself. So he impacted it. And then Brett Favre, what he did, we played against him a bunch when I was at Florida State. And he just knew what the competitor was, how tough he was. And he really kind of changed the game. He was the original gunslinger, as if you want to call it, and you were going to be in a shootout no matter what with him. So I had a lot of great games with him everywhere I played.
He was kind of like the next, remember Kenny Stabler for the Raiders?
Yeah,
wasn't pretty, kind of rough around the edges. They called him the Snake, but he just would be like a gunslinger kind of.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Brett could throw 3 interceptions the first half and could throw 5 touchdowns the second half. Like he could change the game immediately. His team was never out of it. obviously won a Super Bowl and actually played for another one too. So unbelievable careers, kind of set the tone. And then for what was to come, to have two quarterbacks like they did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, two quarterbacks for the last 35 years or whatever span, is pretty incredible.
You know, we have a good friend of the show. He listens to the show, still lives locally. I don't think you guys' paths crossed with the Bucks. Ty J. Armstrong, former tight end. I think Dave Moore and those guys were there when you were there. But anyway, Ty J calls the show every once in a while, and one of his Reggie White stories is that, you know, he was playing Reggie and he got a pretty good block on Reggie. It was like a tight end kind of, you know, go down on the tackle deal, and he got Reggie pretty good. Reggie was, you know, didn't have an impact on the play. Well, Ty J said he got all big-headed, Ty J did, and started talking smack about Reggie, saying, Reggie, 92, you ain't nothing. I got you all day, Reggie. What the hell is going, you know, that kind of stuff, right? And then Reggie, God blessed him right there, said, God bless you, son, and went and just made him look stupid the next three plays. Just made him, just absolutely manhandled him, gave him like the whip, and then the whole big deal, the club, they called it the club, I think it was.
The club, that club was special, and then number 92 is coming downhill right on your face.
You know, Brad, I got something. I don't know that it's worth nothing, and I think he might have been a equipment manager when you were there, Darren Kearns.
Yep, I had Darren Kearns. Yep.
All right, so I was good friends with Darren Kearns, and when Tony went to go coach the Pro Bowl in either '99 or 2000, I forget what year it was. The NFL head coach brings his staff with him, like his equipment guys and all that kind of deal. You know.
Yep.
Well, Darren was a really good friend of mine. You listened to 98 Rock and stuff when we were on there, when he, you know, here locally, and he was the equipment manager. Well, he got me Reggie White's Pro Bowl pants from that year.
Wow.
And so I have Reggie White's, and then Dion got them signed for me. So I have Reggie White's Corinthians 113 Pro Bowl game-worn pants, which was his last Pro Bowl. I got to think that might be worth something, don't you think?
Yeah, that was one. I don't think you even give that one away. That was priceless.
You know what I should? You know what I should do as a man, though, is I should get a hold of his wife and say, "Would you like to have these?" I mean, not don't charge her nothing. Just say, "Hey, these are your husband's last pair of pants that he, I think, wore ever."
Yeah, should probably be thankful. Should be thankful.
Yeah,
I'm sure. So it's no. Reggie was respected by all. I mean, by all. He impacted players on the field, impacted players off the field. And I actually remember the year we won the Super Bowl, we were in Tampa. We had a training camp in Orlando. And that year, actually, Reggie White was down in Tampa. He spoke to the team. He just retired. And so I remember he had all eyes on him. And, you know, the things he said were meaningful. And but he just had that respect from everyone.
Brad Johnson, just for hopefully a couple more minutes. Brad, who was the most meanest guy, not on the field, like in the locker room, street level, like, you know, like just badass, like you just didn't, you know, was it a Paul Gruber? I mean, maybe Paul might have been gone by the time you got there, but like, you know, was it a Warren Sapp? Was it a Derek Brooks? Like, who just was you just didn't want to mess with them because you just get your ass kicked.
Yeah, I always made friends with him. It's 99 Warren Sapp, man, the QB killer. So we stay in touch. But Sapp's one. I mean, you want to be on the stats. That's a big reason why I came to Tampa. I want to play with guys like Derek Brooks and Lynch and Rondé Barber, all the above. But to be with Sapp, we're good buddies today and stay in touch and all that kind of stuff. But no, he was definitely a fierce competitor at all times.
How about John Randall? Was he a monster?
John, hey, now that's a funny character. Now, his nickname was Johnny Motor Randall. That guy, he never stopped. I mean, if you're going through the cafeteria, he was swimming, moving, and duck moving. I mean, whatever it took to get to the quarterback. They made a great commercial with him. He was actually in Minnesota. He's sewing. It shows him sewing, and what he was sewing was like a little bitty jersey, a number 4 jersey. And what it was, he put the number 4 jersey on a chicken, and he chased the chicken like Rocky Balboa chased chickens, and was always chasing like. His whole goal was to chase Brett Favre in Green Bay. Obviously, that was a big impact. But Johnny Motor Randall, man, he was Hall of Fame and elite player and a tremendous guy.
You would see like highlights of him, and his face would be like these war things on his face, and he'd just be yapping, just talking to the tackle, saying, "I'm gonna tell you right now. I know your wife thinks that you're pretty, but I'm gonna beat you up, and you're not. They better." I mean, just crazy stuff. And then somebody said John Randall would learn about like what your son and your daughter's name was, and would be like getting all up in your head on your family business, and just be nonstop. Is that how he was?
That's exactly. He got in that media guide on Monday morning. He was on that media guide. He didn't know all about you, but half the time you can't understand what he's saying anyway. So they kind of, but that was his MO. Now he got after it on the field. One of the hardest workers I've ever been around, and he came from a small school in Texas. He lived on you ought to see the show on him on, I think it's on NFL Channel, about his background, where he grew up. He grew up with like 3-4 brothers. They'd have to put like grease on their bodies at night. They had lived like on a dirt floor, and came in Minnesota like a late round draft pick, and went from 230 to ended up with 280 pounds or whatever it was. And just, you talk about a success story, that's him. And just all the respect in the world for him.
I got a tough question. Well, my last couple of questions, Brad. I'm just not going to let you off the hook. Got to make some tough decisions here now. Your favorite now, and you can't just be a politician and say, well, this guy's good, that guy's good, this guy. You have to just name one guy, your favorite offensive lineman, because those are the guys at the end of the day that make or break you. At the end of the day, they're the guys. You can only pick one out of all the teams you've ever played on. Your favorite offensive lineman, and the other question is that your favorite wide receiver. That's my last two questions, and you can only say one person. Don't be a politician. You have to give us one.
Well, my favorite lineman was Jeff Christie,
right.
62, and we played together in Minnesota and Tampa. Won a Super Bowl together. He made all the line calls, all the respect in the world for him. So love playing for Jeff. Love playing with my center Jeff Christie, and then my favorite receiver, Bubba, I mean, honestly, was the guy that was open.
No, we're not. Johnson, we can't go with that, Johnson. Johnson, you got to give me one, buddy.
Hey, let me tell you what. Since I threw to myself, it's Johnson and Johnson. How about that?
I mean, who's the one guy? You know what? It's 3rd and 7. I got to get a first down. This guy will catch it. Is it a Randy Moss? Is it a Keyshawn? Give me one, Brad. Come on, buddy. Just
damn
one.
it, I can't give you one. I can't give you one because they all put bread on my table, man.
I understand.
I love playing for all of them. I love them all.
Let's not forget Chris Carter's in that group too. I mean, one of the greatest of all time, man.
Yeah, I threw Chris Carter and Tim Brown their 100th touchdown pass. Threw Randy Moss's first touchdown pass. Threw Warren Sapp his first touchdown pass.
And you threw yourself your first touchdown pass.
Exactly, man. So I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks. I mean, a lot of great receivers.
That's why he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I got to throw to.
Hey, Brad. So. Good luck to your son Max. I think he's coming on his final year. And I know he's really, really good. And I mean, does Max have aspirations of going to the league?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I have another son, my wife Nikki and I. Other son Jake, he was number 1 tight end in the country coming out last year. He's at Texas A&M also, so it'll be another Johnson connection. But nice. It's gonna be fun to watch their careers.
Who's tougher in a fight, Max or Jake?
Hey, let me tell you something. Yesterday,
see, come on now. It's all about being a dad.
Yesterday, we were in a damn fist fight out in the backyard.
Yeah, of course they were.
And I went after him. I said, listen, I had to put them back to back, like sitting there like 2 little kids, like back to back, and apologize. Apologize to your mom. Because, I mean, they're both 6'5", 6'6", 225, 230.
Screw the Kardashians. Screw the Kardashians. Let's do the Johnsons. I want to see fist fightings. Yeah. I want to see trick shottings. I want to see mom flipped out. I want to see it all.
Come on up, man. Hey, you're always welcome.
Hey, we'd love to have you on from time to time promoting your stuff, talking about, Max and Jake and Brad. Yep. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to maybe having you again sometime, bud.
Yeah, that'd be great. No, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Brad. Oh, God, what a great guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy. And what a stud.
Yeah.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
There really is a strong argument that he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.